All right. Good evening, everybody. Good afternoon, I should say, and welcome to the stream. Let me quickly tell everyone that we're live, and I very much hope that the connection stays good during the stream. The last stream we did, the connection was incredibly bad at some point of time. Last week Friday, which was a shame. I mean, we were having a very nice live stream, and the markets were very good. Unfortunately, Zook, you're 100% right, and please pray for the Wi-Fi. I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at the bits that are being sent through to YouTube, right? So that's basically what needs to be high, and it's looking steady, but who knows? But like I said, I mean, the market circumstances last week Friday were a bit better. The market circumstances, market conditions right now are not amazing, but we'll have to work with what we have ultimately, and that is this, and we'll talk about that. Let me quickly notify everybody that we are live right now. So let me post it on Discord. There we go. Let me post it on Telegram, and then X probably knows about it, right? And there we go. Live now. Okay, that is good enough. So we'll post. We'll post it on X as well. Why not? All right. So welcome to the stream, everybody. If you're just tuning in, let me see. Okay, yeah, here we are. Siddharth, welcome to the stream. Beast Encounters, welcome. Ahmed, welcome to the stream. Zook, welcome back. So far so good in terms of the Wi-Fi. Mira, welcome to the stream. Bert, welcome to the stream. Daniel, welcome. Awaisa, welcome to the stream. Or Awais, it's probably better. No data. The stream is good, right? Because YouTube is telling me that no data is coming through, but I think it's okay. It should be good, right? Is everything okay regarding the audio and regarding the bitrate? No problem so far, I'd say. But welcome to the stream, everybody. Mustafa, welcome. Mrs. All Effen in. Well, oh, that's a nice name. We're fully in terms of the mood. We have the coffee, the last coffee of today. Don't drink coffee too late, but for a live stream, it's always good to be able to be a little bit sharper for all of you and to talk about what's going on, which is what we'll do in a moment. And we also have this. Very cozy. Very cozy indeed. But okay, so let's get right into it. And if anyone has a request, let me know. We can do requests a little bit later. I mean, right now when we're talking about the market circumstances are not amazing, of course. As you can see right now, Bitcoin is pushing down in towards 100,000, where we have the key support level with the yearly rolling VWAP, which is obviously, if you go back in time, the yearly rolling VWAP has been the support level in the last years. Since October 2023, we have not fallen below the yearly rolling VWAP. And then outside of that, on the weekly time frame, you can see that as well. We have the weekly trend, which at this point of time, we are testing that. But historically, that is also, it's been tested more often, for example, July until September 2024. So the weekly trend is much less holy than the yearly rolling VWAP. The yearly rolling VWAP is quite holy. Like that's a level. If we drop down below that, that's bad news. That's very bad news. But so far, we are holding that. That's the area at 99,000 and 100,000. And the weekly trends, we are testing that as well. But the weekly trend matters a little bit less. So it would obviously be better if we held that. And the weekly trend is also very close to the yearly rolling VWAP. So, you know, if we're going to hold one, we're most likely going to hold the other one as well. But short term, as you can see, there's bearish pressure. I did a video after the NYO, of course. If we zoom out, you can see that the NYO was actually relatively bullish. We had some bullish momentum going into the US session, but that turned into a spike into the 7-day rolling VWAP, and since then we've started to push down. The key reason why we're pushing down, and we can talk about some headlines here real quick before we do some altcoin analysis. But ultimately, I don't think we've missed anything major. Verizon to cut about 15,000 jobs. I think that doesn't really matter short term. IMF expects deceleration of growth in US in fourth quarter from a previous forecast of 1.9% due partly to government shutdown. Okay, Fed's Kashkari, inflation still too high at 3%, mixed signals from economy. Look, that matters, right? I mean, there's two things I think right now, and I haven't looked at the chat in a moment, so I hope everything is going all right with the connection. It seems to be. But we'll do some requests, and I'll talk about the chat in a moment. But I think it's good to create some sort of context fundamentally about the current situation. And the two things that I think matter most at this point of time is this, right? So this is the probability that we are going to get a rate cut of 25 base points in December, or a rate stabilization so that the rate stays the same. At this point of time, there's a little bit of a higher probability that we are going to get a rate cut, which would obviously be good. And then outside of that, something that I've been obsessing about is liquidity in the United States, which basically means how much cash is available. And you want a lot of cash to be available, because if there's a lot of cash available, then it's basically the oil of the economy, right? My pronunciation on that was absolutely amazing, probably, but it's the oil of the economy, and it's also what you need for equities to rise up. If there's a lot of cash, in money market funds, etc. No, that's not actually cash, but if there's a lot of cash, available and ready to be deployed, that's obviously bullish for equities as well. And one of the key reasons usually that's causing cash to be tight is also one of the reasons why it can be bearish for equities. And so far, what you can see today is that, again, we had repo operations. If there's repo operations, that's bearish. That's bad for liquidity, or at least that's a symptom of bad liquidity. It's just less liquidity than necessary, then these repo operations continue. And then outside of that, one of the key measures that I also like to take a look at is the SOFR spread. And that's increasing again as well. So this is basically the SOFR spread, to make it very simple, is the difference between the short-term interest rate, right? So if you want very short-term debt, if you want very short-term cash, you still pay an interest rate on that since it's debt. But if there's a lot of demand for short-term cash, which happens if there is a liquidity crisis, then the spread between the SOFR, which is the short-term interest rate, and the long-term interest rate increases. So when this is increasing, there's an increased short-term demand or a decreased short-term supply. That could be the case as well, but that doesn't matter for what's happening. It basically means liquidity is not great. So that's what's going on. Oh, my camera was blurry, but it fixed itself. So these are the two things I'm watching. And these are telling me, okay, we have liquidity problems, and that's causing the volatility index to rise, which is bearish for equities, which you can see right here. Equities are falling off a cliff again. And that's also bearish for Bitcoin. Although, I must say, again, that, when equities are actually falling down lower, like equities at this point of time, if you look at the S&P 500 pre-market futures, they're back at the same levels where they were Monday morning. And if you take a look at Bitcoin, you can actually see that we're back at those levels as well. But Bitcoin is actually holding the 100,000 level, right? So that is something I'm still quite happy about. Like there's quite a lot of shit going on in the financial markets right now, but it's holding. So as long as Bitcoin holds 100,000, I think we're fine. I think we can drop down below that and reclaim it as well, which seems quite likely if these problems persist. Okay, let's talk about the chat. And welcome everybody that's new to the stream. XRP123, welcome to the stream. LVS, welcome. Clarence, welcome. Onemeister, how are you, man? Welcome to the stream. Rob Collins, welcome to the stream. Mushto, welcome. Brian, welcome. Najim, welcome. What's up, everybody? Good evening. Yeah, let's do some XRP. A lot of people are talking about XRP right now. Look, XRP, we can say one thing for certain about XRP, and that is that it is relatively strong, which is great news, right? If you look at XRP BTC, there's a lot of charts that do not look great against Bitcoin. There's one chart that actually looks pretty good, and that is XRP BTC. XRP BTC, so the relative strength of XRP against Bitcoin. This is a very interesting chart, by the way, because you can see that XRP BTC has gone into an uptrend. which would be absolutely phenomenal if we're actually able to continue that. But this is great to see, right? This is a great sign, and this is also what we see in the short term, right? It's just that, look, there's these fundamental reasons to be very positive and to be very optimistic about XRP. And there's technical reasons to be quite optimistic about XRP. So I would almost say, why are we not bullish on XRP? But the thing is that the timing in terms of the other fundamentals is just horrible, right? I mean, if these liquidity problems actually persist and if the market is going to push down lower, like XRP is never going to rally. XRP is going to rally when Bitcoin finds support and when those fundamental problems we just spent 10 minutes talking about, when those are solved, then XRP will rally. And I think XRP is exceptionally positioned to rally. I just think right now the circumstances are not good. If those circumstances are resolved, if we get some good news, we'll do this in an instant. I'm very bullish on XRP, both technically and fundamentally. But it's just not the right timing, I'd say. But yeah, I mean, I'll keep you updated on this, of course. I mean, at some point of time, I think this is coming. I think the XRP ETFs are going to be a massive success. The Canary Capital one that launched, I think, today, I don't think that's going to be a success. Canary Capital is a bit of a shady fund manager, or at least a newer fund manager, so not a lot of institutional cash is going towards that. And they also have very high fees, all right? I don't think we can actually track I don't think we can actually track the XRP ETF yet. Or can we? Let me see. No, here, market. No, not yet, unfortunately. But so XRP, I'm relatively bullish on that. Yeah, 2.4, Onemeister, look, 2.4 on XRP. I completely get it. Like, technically, it's a great setup. And I agree with it completely, right? And it also lines up with Bitcoin finding support at the yearly rolling VWAP. I think it works, but is it something you want to risk? Like you also, no, you have to open right there. So you have a lot of confluences at maybe a little bit lower to be, yeah, no, 2.4, 2.30, 2.93. That looks solid, but I mean, I'd go pretty tight. I'd go with a tight stop loss, and then you can easily de-risk. And it has a lot of potential to be successful. It's just that, I don't know, it's in these market circumstances, taking a long like this, it's questionable. It's questionable even if everything is pointing towards this. Like everything technically is pointing towards, and fundamentally for XRP specifically as well, is pointing towards this being a profitable trade. But do you want to do that in these market circumstances? Do you want to take the risk? I don't know. But it's my personal thoughts, I think. Mustafa, you can contact me on Telegram always, but I get so many messages on Telegram that it takes a while for me to see them. Like everyone that's part of the premium group, everyone that's part of the Signal group, like I get a notification if they send me a message, but other people, I don't see it very often. So you might have, if you send me a message, I'll check after the stream, but I'm not certain if. I'm not certain if you already sent a message, and otherwise I'll check it out. James, welcome to the stream again. Samantha, welcome to the stream. So when pump? Not yet. Not yet. Maybe at 100,000. Definitely if we see those liquidity problems go away. That would be amazing. Matic, welcome to the stream. Zook, Monad, I think is incredibly overvalued. Monad is something I will not touch with a 10 feet pole, personally. I mean, I'm also not part of the whole Monad community, etc. I've heard about it. I followed Monad quite a bit. I also have some transactions on the Monad network. I really do, but it's just not. It's just not for me. I mean, the valuation for Monad is just too high for these market circumstances. I mean, if it was 2023, maybe I would have been interested, but I think it's too late. I think it's too late in the, or at least regarding the market circumstances. I don't know. Brai Broiki, welcome back. Welcome to the stream, brother. How are you? STX. Let's do a quick look at STX. I checked this out this morning. I think STX is not that interesting. You can see right here, I mean, STX was able to reclaim the value area high. So this is stacks, right? It used to be correlated with Bitcoin. Like it reclaimed the value area low right here. And we also found some support there, but now it has dropped down below that and the momentum is decreasing. So I think stacks, I mean, if we're able to reclaim 41 cents, it's going to be quite stable in this area here. But there's no indications anymore. There were indications that it was strong earlier in the week, but right now, or last week actually, right now it's not. There's no sign of stacks overperforming, and if there's no signs of a coin overperforming, and the structure is also not very great, I don't think you should spend too much time on that. To be fair, let me quickly also keep an eye on some news to the left. Nothing major came in. Zook, no, I mean Monad. Look, the thing is, I mean, if you look at Monad, and I'll go through all the messages, okay? So don't worry, I will try to cover everything. It might take some time, and yeah, but Monad, look, the thing is, I mean, if you take a look at Monad right here, and you take a look at the fundraising, how much they're raising $190 million. They've already raised $250 million almost. Like, what do they need the money for? Monad is not better than some of the other networks that are there. They don't have the community. They don't have the ecosystem. I think, yeah, maybe like they used to have a stronger community. They actually used to have a very strong community. But they have all sorts of market makers. Like it's a huge project. And you know, maybe it actually rallies higher than the IEO. It's a possibility, but it's not worth it to me. It's not worth the risk. Good time to buy ICP. Look, I've made a video on ICP this morning. I think that explains it the best. But with ICP, I'm kind of stuck between two things. I think either if we break above 6.5, that buying the breakout is a good idea, if the volume is also quite high. And there's this, I'm still quite interested when it comes to ICP to this level right here at 5.4. But again, given the current market circumstances, like maybe like if you really want to buy ICP, what I would do, like this is in terms of risk reward, this is the best thing to do, I think. Is you set an order at 5.4 and you set an order right here at $5. Those are the critical support levels that we have. Stop loss below 4.2, and then you have a decent risk reward if we get up to 6.5, and then we can also break out again. But it's I mean the situation for ICP right now is just not interesting. It's just choppy, and I would either wait for some bullish confirmation so that we can actually expect it reasonably to rally up again, or a further pullback. I mean, by far the best support level is $5, but $5, it's unlikely we're going to hit that soon. But it's a possibility, especially given those fundamentals that are kind of pushing the prices down. It's definitely a possibility. It's just not amazing, I think. AVAX, Peter, Den Bos in the building, in the house. Welcome to the stream. AVAX and INJ, Injective. Let me see. I mean, AVAX, it's a little bit hard to say, right? Because ultimately it depends a lot on the markets. I think I covered AVAX some time ago as well. Is this the bottom? I mean, it depends a lot on the fundamentals around the markets. I think AVAX and Injective will look very, very similar. But I do think we're going to get a bounce again from this level. But look, if this is the start of a bear market, right? And I don't want to talk about that too much, okay? I don't want to throw around that word too much. But if this is the start of a bear market, which I think that there is a possibility that is the case, okay? I think that's at least when you're making investing decisions right now in crypto, I think you need to take that into account. I don't think it's most likely, but if this is a bear market, I mean, $15 is not going to hold. AVAX is going to drop all the way back down to $10 easily. Right, so that is something I think you need to be prepared for. And for now, I do think we formed a local bottom at $15. I think we can hold that, and I think from there we can also get some sort of bullish momentum. But for how long and whether that's going to be sustainable, and if within a year after that we're not going to drop down lower, it's too uncertain for me to say. I don't actually do a lot of long-term analyses. And I think in such a rapidly changing world such as cryptocurrency, but also such a rapidly changing general world that we have right now in terms of politics, but also economics and with AI, etc., and how that's going. And there's a lot of fear. I mean, then everybody is talking about the AI bubble again, which I don't believe in, but okay. It's just hard. I mean, Injective, same thing. We have a super support at 6.5, and it looks quite likely that from there we're going to rally up to $10 and $11. But you know, is that going to be the last support? It depends. And by the way, I mean, Injective might actually fall down a little bit lower. The support level, like Injective has a lot of strong support right in this level, which we hit. But Injective could still spike down into 5.5 and $5, to be fair. I think you need to be ready for that. AVAX looks a little bit more likely that has found the ultimate bottom, and that we can spike down into that bottom, but that's it. Injective looks a little bit more likely will spike down lower if this bad news continues, right? If the liquidity problems persist, I'd say. Meister, your XRP long is almost hitting. Let me see. Sui, I covered Sui in my last live stream on Friday. I said back then, so that was right here, that I thought it was the bottom. I still think so. I mean, a lot of these altcoins, they basically look the same, right? I mean, Sui also very strong support level at $2. If these liquidity problems persist, we can spike down lower into 1.65 and 1.75, but I do expect that to hold. But my expectation of these altcoins to hold is because of my expectations that these liquidity problems will not turn into something similar to COVID, right? I mean, COVID, we also had a massive liquidity problem all of a sudden. And then the stock market dropped down over 50%, of course, over the course of a week. If that happens, altcoins will fall down much, much lower, right? So that is something you might have to keep in mind, especially if you're trading with money you cannot lose, which you should not do, but okay. It's not most likely. I mean, I'm expecting that to not happen. But if that happens, which is a possibility, I guess, then we can drop down lower. I know this sounds a lot like, oh, if this, then that, and if that, then this. Ultimately, I think Sui is forming a bottom around 1.85, and I expect that to hold. Bottoms just take some time to form. That is the truth. That has always been the case. If you look at every bottom that Bitcoin has formed, right here, for example, it always took some time to form. We basically, like Bitcoin basically from the beginning of March until the beginning of April, spent time here in this area on top of 80,000 before we actually called it a bottom. And we did that quite often. I mean, right here, the bottom we formed the 5th of August. We pushed down all the way to the bottom again before it really was a bottom. I mean, it usually takes over a month to form. So that is also the case with a lot of these altcoins. They drop down like last week into that level. So it takes some time. And I would definitely remain relatively patient with that. And that's obviously, I mean, remaining relatively patient with those coins is incredibly hard psychologically. No, Meister, you have to set it now. You have to set it for us. Yeah, we'll take a look at Tau. Yeah, a lot of people are asking for Tau. So we'll talk about that. Yeah, let's talk about it. So Bitensor, look, I actually had a trade on Bitensor, which hit stop loss yesterday. It was I already closed some at near entry earlier, but I did take a loss on that. The thing is with Bitensor, look, I'm quite fundamentally I'm bullish on that, right? Because what you see quite often, Bitensor or Tau has its halving coming up in December. And what you saw, at least historically, it has been true. I mean, 2023, this happened extremely often and very methodically, if that's the right word to use right here. We have good news in a month's time. What you see very often is that the bullish momentum kind of persists for a coin that has good news, good planned news, such as a halving. We saw the same with the Litecoin halving, for example. We have, bullish price action until at least like 2 weeks before it happens. So that's also why I thought, okay, Bitensor actually looks pretty stable right here. Maybe we can get that move up. But ultimately, the thing is that fundamentally, I'm bullish on Bitensor. I think it's a great project. I think in terms of AI projects, Bitensor potentially is the AI project in crypto that's actually creating some sort of utility, that's actually creating some sort of value. But we have to be honest, and I should have been honest earlier. But the truth is that we're losing momentum. The volume, if you take the 2-month average, is decreasing significantly. There is no sign in any momentum coming in. And now we're at a very strong support level at 340, which you can see is the value area low. And we're barely finding any support. So I would say short term, especially as long as Bitcoin pushes down lower, which seems most likely at the moment. I'd say it's most likely Bitensor is going to push down lower as well into that level right here. I mean, do we still have some old imbalances for Bitensor that we can look at potentially to find an entry? I think so. Some older imbalances from when we were also at this price. Yeah, I mean, Bitensor has some very strong support here between 325 and 315, and I think that lines up with some high time frame support as well. 315, 325. There we are. Let's zoom out a bit. Yeah, so 315, 325, that seems like a solid support level for Bitensor, where we could find some longer term support, and then maybe we can rally from there as well. But at the moment, it seems more likely we'll push down into that than that we're going to rally. I mean, fundamentally, there's reasons to expect Bitensor to rally, but technically, it's not rhyming. It's not rhyming, and it's not the one-two combo that you really want to see in terms of momentum. By the way, market circumstances right now. I mean, I would love to talk about some potential trade setups, but there's very much nothing to really keep an eye on. I mean, Uniswap is still quite strong. Maybe there's some opportunity in that, but Uniswap at the moment is also just holding on relatively well. Uniswap, I'd only be interested in that if we get a move into like $7. Maybe then I'd be interested, preferably even 6.3, but that will probably not happen. Okay. And welcome everybody that's new to the stream. It's good to have you all on board. Glenn, Avantis, I saw some momentum coming in. So let's take a look at that. Yeah, I mean, Uniswap is holding fine, right? I mean, Uniswap is holding much better than other coins, which is a good thing. But again, the same thing as what I said with XRP. The fundamentals for XRP are good. The fundamentals for Uniswap are good. Like the news that they have implemented, or the developments regarding the tokenomics that they've implemented, are incredibly bullish. But if the market is very weak, and if there's a lot of bearish pressure, it's not going to rally. But I do think if the market finds a bottom, Uniswap is going to be one of the best performers. It's actually keeping momentum quite well as well. So what's going on? It's the markets. With Uniswap specifically, there's not much going on. CC posted something. What did he post? About buying Bitcoin? What did he say? But whatever he said, I don't think his influence at the moment is strong enough to push the prices up. What did CZ say? Luxembourg already converted 1% of sovereign wealth funds into Bitcoin. You can get in now or after they reach 5, 10, 50%. Quite interesting. Quite interesting, but yeah, I mean it's interesting, but it's I don't think this is going to move price. I don't think so. Hopefully, but I don't think so. DH Remedix, yes, it is still, but and I actually forgot about it. Is it launching? I covered it I think 3 times or something. But I have to say I forgot about it briefly. Let me quickly check it out. I actually bought some. Did they already launch? No, right? No, I don't think so. Your token's worth at launch. Well, great. Now please launch. No, I can still not claim. It seemed like a solid project back when I covered it. Yeah, I bought quite a lot of it. I mean, I'm not sure what was going on with me. No, but is there any updates on it launching or not? BlackRock is selling Bitcoin, crypto India? No, that's not true. BlackRock doesn't hold Bitcoin. BlackRock just manages the funds that hold Bitcoin, because investors and retail and institutions are buying Bitcoin with BlackRock's funds. 8 million to go. They really have a hard cap. They're going to wait for that hard cap before. Not sure what I think about that. Don't necessarily like it. Okay. Well, we'll see. I'll keep an eye on it. Just keep reminding me in the live streams, please. Solana, I did a video on Solana yesterday. That is still very much up to par. But it's just, so Solana looks very similar to something like Ethereum. It's at the bottom of the range right now. And we're most likely going to grab some liquidity to the downsides. That looks most likely. I mean, it's better to assume we're going to be a little bit more bearish, do something like this, than it is to be to be overly optimistic. XRP ETFs, yeah, but Siddharth, I thought it was only the Canary Capital ETF for XRP that was listed. HSDD wall. I made a video on Ethereum this morning. I think a potential area where we could spike down into is this level here at 3150, basically to test the conviction of the move right here, the 4th of November as well. Usual is not looking great to me. My goodness, this coin. It's up in price because they burned like 25% of the supply or something. I mean, there's a lot of momentum coming in, but we'll see. I mean, I don't expect much from it. If I can sell a little bit higher, that would be great. Funding rates are a little bit negative, so that's good. Maybe we'll see some sort of a squeeze, but we shall see. I mean, Usual has been one of my worst buys. Mustafa, you can also just copy paste the addresses. That might be better. Oh yeah, Avantis. Glenn, I'm sorry. Avantis, let me see. Oh wow, some green, some actual green. Look at it, beautiful. Let me see. Let me do this. No, Avantis actually, okay, this might be interesting to be fair. We broke above the value area low here as well. Okay, now this might be something I'm willing to trade. I mean, Avantis is obviously a bit of a risky coin to trade, but it's I'm looking for something to trade. Avantis, let me see right there. Oh, that's the wrong one. Wow. Avantis. There we are. So we have some momentum coming in. It's not amazing. I mean, we have some. It's a bit of a liquidation spike. Yeah, okay, no, I mean, Avantis, it's very risky. I mean, there's a potential entry here. If you grab the fib as well, I mean, if you want some sort of a low-risk entry, there is an entry here on Avantis at 0.53, but you'd have to be a little bit desperate to trade something like that. And then you can get a pretty decent risk-reward because you just place the stop-loss very tight, and then you have a risk-reward of 3, right? And if you have a risk-reward of 3, it's worth it. I might take this, to be fair. I might take this, but I take it with a very small position size because it's such a inherently risky coin. I mean, you can see historically that the moves that we get for Avantis are not necessarily that appetizing to trade into. but the volume is quite high. Might actually be interesting. Thank you for sharing. What launched from Robinhood? Avantis did. Avantis or something else, Raika? I don't see it. Oh yeah, it launched on Robinhood. Wow. Okay. Now I'm not Irish, Tiberius. I'm Dutch. Okay, but that's quite interesting. I mean, yeah, Avantis. This looks like a good trade to take. If it launched on Robinhood, I'd be inclined to maybe risk a little bit more and enter at something like this at like 54.5 cents. So a little bit higher, perhaps this, maybe a little bit tighter. This could be interesting. I've placed some price alerts, but it's quite interesting. Naji, welcome to the stream. You're a little bit late, but that never matters. It never matters. Okay, guys, everyone. We're going to quit the stream. I have to get some food. I will have to do some other analyses and some other updates in the groups. See if we can find some good trade setups, but that's it for now. Like I said, just to end with a brief summary right now, I think ultimately Bitcoin is going to be able to hold 100,000. We're finding some strong support there, and it's I'd say Bitcoin is holding relatively well, even though the fundamentals are not good. We still have some liquidity problems, and until those liquidity problems are solved, or until we have a decent expectation that it's not going to happen, I think there's going to be bearish pressure because of it here and there. Equities are also pushing down. As you can see, volatility index is up. Equities are down. Fundamentals, therefore, are not amazing. Bitcoin has very strong support at 100,000, though. So we could push down below that. Ultimately, I think we'll be able to hold that. And I think most altcoins are going to follow that. I think XRP is quite interesting. It's relatively strong fundamentally. I think Avantis is quite strong, actually, as a possible opportunity as well. But I've set price limits for now. Those are my thoughts. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the stream. It was fun again. I am going to try to do another live stream on Saturday, but I'm not certain if I'll be able to make it work. Stay tuned, all right? I'll let you know on my videos. I'll let you know on X. I'll let you know on Telegram. I'll let you know on Discord. But those are my thoughts for now. If you have any urgent analysis requests, join the Discord or join the Telegram server, tag me in there, and I might be able to whip out a quick analysis. But that's it for now. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Have a great evening. Have a great, perfect Wi-Fi. It was amazing, this stream. But I will see you all in my next live streams, or otherwise I will see you all in my next videos.